Okay, let's get into this. It's pretty wild, right? You hear about a massive earthquake, like thousands of miles away near Russia.
Yeah, off Kamchatka.
Exactly. And suddenly the U.S. West Coast, even Hawaii, they're on alert for a tsunami. It feels, well, counterintuitive.
It really does.
Yeah.
Distance usually means safety, but not always with these.
So that's what we're diving into today. We're looking at this specific event using a KCLA-5 report. They had Dr. Lucy Jones, the earthquake expert, breaking it down.
Oh, yes, Dr. Jones. Her insights are always valuable.
Totally. So our mission here is to, unpack the science. Why did this distant quake matter? What did those alerts actually mean? The watch versus the warning.
That distinction is crucial.
Absolutely. And what were the real risks? What can we learn about being prepared even when the danger starts an ocean away? We'll sort of explore how distance changes the game for tsunamis.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's start with the event itself. This distant giant waking up. We're talking a huge earthquake, 8.7 magnitude.
That's a major quake, definitely. Struck in the waters off the Kamchatka Peninsula, eastern Russia.
And what struck me was it was only about, 160 miles from Hokkaido in Japan?
Roughly, yes. But here's the thing. Reports said it was felt only slightly in Hokkaido.
Slightly. For an 8.7, that seems odd. What does that tell us?
It suggests something about the earthquake's rupture. For an 8.7, the break in the Earth's crust is massive, probably 300 miles long, maybe even more.
Okay.
The fact Japan barely felt it, it likely means the rupture, that break, mostly spread northwards, away from Japan, not towards it. That initial geometry is really important for figuring out the tsunami potential.
Gotcha. So the direction of the break matters a lot. Now, with a quake that big, alerts must have gone out pretty fast. Who issues them, and what did they say initially?
Right. The alerts come from the National Tsunami Warning Program under NOAA.
Mm-hmm.
Near the source, in Russia, they issued a warning straight away. Potential for waves over 3 meters, 10 feet. Serious stuff.
Okay, so warning there. What about us? California, the West Coast, Hawaii?
Initially, the U.S. West Coast, including California and Hawaii, were put under a tsunami watch.
A watch. Okay, and for you listening, this is key. A watch means potential threat. It's an alert to get ready, be prepared. Not panic, but pay attention.
Exactly. Preparedness.
But then Hawaii's status changed. It got upgraded.
It did. Hawaii was upgraded to a tsunami warning. That signifies a higher assessed risk. The forecast there was for waves maybe 1 to 3 meters, so 3 to 10 feet potentially.
A big difference. And what about the Aleutians?
The westernmost Aleutian Islands and the peninsula. That's kind of a step down, more like a keep an eye on this, let's see how big it gets status for a specific area.
So, watch is potential, be ready. Warning is imminent danger, take action. Advisory is watch closely.
That's a good summary. The language matters.
It really does. Okay, so these waves start traveling. We think of tsunamis, maybe incorrectly, as just giant waves building slowly, but they move incredibly fast, don't they?
Unbelievably fast. We're talking 500, maybe 600 miles per hour.
Wow, like a jet plane.
Pretty much the same speed, yeah. Crossing the ocean just like an airliner would.
So even from Kamchatka, all those miles away, how long does it actually take to reach, say, California or Hawaii?
Well, for California, you're looking at a travel time of 10 hours, maybe a bit more. Give some breathing room.
Okay, 10 hours. And Hawaii?
The warning for Hawaii, estimated arrival around 7:15 p.m. local time. For California, that would have been 10:15 p.m. So you have this window, which is critical for assessment.
And during that window, they're assessing, I heard about this system, PAGER. Is that right? What does it do?
Yes, PAGER. It stands for Prompt Assessment of Global Earthquakes for Response. It's a USGS system.
Prompt assessment. How does it work so fast, especially for something so far away?
It's model-based. It uses known relationships between the quake's characteristics, magnitude, fault length, things like that, and the expected shaking. Then it overlays that with population data.
To estimate potential impact?
Exactly. Potential losses, both economic and human. For this 8.7 quake, the initial pager run suggested pretty significant numbers, at least $10 billion in economic losses, and likely somewhere between 10 and 100 fatalities globally.
Wow, those are stark initial numbers. But there's a catch, right? These are just initial models.
Absolutely crucial caveat. These pager estimates are based only on the earthquake data and the model, not on actual real-time tsunami measurements or on-site reports yet. They give a first look, a planning scenario, but they can definitely change as real data comes in.
Okay, good to know. A starting point, not the final word. So let's bring it back to California. What was the realistic expectation here on the West Coast? Dr. Jones seems somewhat reassuring about widespread flooding.
She did. The outlook for California specifically was, quote, not too bad. The main reason is that by the time the tsunami energy travels all that way across the Pacific, the actual rise in water level along the coast was expected to be pretty small.
How small are we talking?
Likely less than 1 meter, so under 3 feet.
And why is that significant for California?
Well, because a lot of our developed coastline is actually built more than 1 meter above sea level. So a rise of less than a meter means widespread flooding over land is much less likely.
Okay, that makes sense. Even Hawaii, with a 3 to 10 foot forecast, that doesn't mean the whole island chain gets hit with 10-foot waves everywhere.
Right. 10 feet might only reach certain low-lying areas, maybe like Lincoln Boulevard in some spots near the coast. Significant for those specific areas, yes, but not necessarily catastrophic flooding everywhere.
But here's the part I found really interesting, maybe surprising. Dr. Jones emphasized the biggest danger wasn't necessarily land flooding, but damage to marine uses. What's that about?
Yeah, that's a key point for distant tsunamis. Even if the water level itself doesn't rise dramatically over land, you get these incredibly powerful currents generated within harbors and bays.
Currents, not just rising water.
Think about it like the entire harbor basin sloshing back and forth, but with immense power and speed. These aren't normal tidal currents. They're much stronger and faster. They can just rip boats from moorings, smash them into docks, crumble piers.
Wow, so the force of the moving water itself is the main problem in harbors.
Precisely. The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, for instance, are particularly vulnerable because of how currents would surge through the harbor complex. It's about the force, the hydrodynamics, more than just the peak water height on land in these cases.
Has this been seen before or modeled?
Yes, actually. The USGS did a big modeling project called the SAFER scenario. They looked at a hypothetical giant earthquake in Alaska, similar scale to this Kamchatka one. And their models also predicted the biggest impact in Southern California would be damage to marine facilities, to the ports and harbors, not widespread overland flooding.
That really changes how you think about the threat. Okay, let's look back a bit. Has Kamchatka produced major tsunamis affecting the U.S. before?
Oh, yes. Dr. Jones brought up the classic example, 1952. There was a huge earthquake there, originally listed as a 9.0 magnitude.
1952? What happened then?
Well, that quake definitely generated a significant tsunami. It caused damage in Hawaii, reportedly waves up to 30 feet in some areas. But interestingly, no reported deaths in the U.S. from that one. It was a really important event for understanding tsunami generation and travel.
So 1952 was a 9.0, this one an 8.7. That sounds like a big difference. How do they really compare energy-wise?
Well, first, a little nuance. Our ability to measure magnitude is much better now. That 1952 quake might be closer to an 8.8 by modern standards.
Yeah.
But still, comparing an 8.7 to even an 8.8 or 9.0,
Yeah.
a 9.0 releases considerably more energy than an 8.7, like roughly 3 times as much energy. It's a logarithmic scale, so small number changes mean big energy differences.
3 times the energy. Does that mean 3 times the wave height far away?
Not necessarily, no. That's another complexity. While more energy is released at the source, how that translates to wave height across the ocean is complicated. The energy spreads out, it interacts with the ocean floor. It's not a simple, direct relationship for distant shores.
Right, it disperses. This all sounds incredibly difficult to predict accurately in real time. How good is the science now? The modeling?
It's actually very good now. NOAA's modeling capabilities are impressive, calculating how that water moves across the entire Pacific, dealing with varying depths, coastlines. It's a massive computational task.
Takes time, I imagine.
It does. It's not instant. But they have systems running, and crucially, they get real-time data from deep ocean buoys, dart buoys. These measure the passing tsunami wave in the open ocean.
Ah, so they can check the models against real data.
Exactly. As that buoy data comes in, they continuously refine the forecasts. It's a constant process of modeling, updating, and disseminating information. A huge improvement over 1952.
That's reassuring. Okay, so wrapping this up, we've covered a lot: the quake, the alerts, the tsunami travel, the specific threats. What's the main takeaway for you listening in terms of being prepared?
Well, first, remember, for the West Coast, this specific event prompted a watch, not a warning. The immediate land risk was assessed as low. But even so, it serves as a really potent reminder. If you live right near the coast, or if you work or have boats in marine facilities, having an evacuation plan is just smart. Always.
Even for a watch?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Because these situations can evolve, and also people get anxious. Understandably, having a plan ready, Knowing where you go, what you take, it reduces anxiety and ensures you're ready if the situation does escalate, or even just for your peace of mind. It's about resilience.
Good point. Preparedness reduces anxiety, too.
Okay, so we've explored the sheer power of earthquakes, triggering waves across oceans, the science trying to predict their path, the subtle but crucial differences in alerts, and how the danger might be more about currents in harbors than floods on land.
Quite a journey across the Pacific. Definitely. So here's something to think about. You've heard how interconnected things are: a rupture pattern off Russia impacting harbors in California hours later. How does understanding these complex planet-spanning systems, from hidden fault lines to vast ocean currents, change your perspective on preparedness and maybe on our place within these powerful natural forces, even when the trigger is half a world away?